Madison, but I'm calling her champion. Madison Keys wins her first major, beating Aryna Sabalenka, world number 1 in the Australian Open final. Can you believe it? That's what that face says. She wins an incredible match over Sabalenka, playing Madison Keys' brand of tennis, blasting from the baseline, blasting her serve, playing brave. Be brave, Madison. She was. She wins. Incredible match. First of all, incredible champion now in Madison Keys, and it's really just a feel-good story, I think, for all of tennis, especially women's tennis. So let's break it down. Let's react to this. This is the slice presented by Betway. Let's get into it. I mean, what can you say? It's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale ending. Madison Keys beats the best player in the world to win her first major title at the Australian Open. Does it with the support of her team, her husband Bjorn Fratangelo, who is an absolute king. Just we're going to talk about him, the way he like supports and kind of stays in the shadows and just is that guy. But Madison Keys, I mean, has been grinding for this for so long. And as she talked about, and as everyone talked about, she wasn't sure if that was ever going to come. You know, she lost in the U.S. Open final in 2017. I remember that, to Sloane Stephens, and we were like, okay, Americans women's tennis these are going to be the gals, and they both dropped off in a way. Madison Keys, actually kept her level higher since then, but wasn't able to get it done. Coco Gauff comes in, Jess Pegula comes in, the new brand of American tennis, but Madison Keys stuck with it, trusted the process, changed to a Yonex racket, and got it done. And it was an incredible match. Wow. Yeah, I got up last night and watched it. And I was shocked, really. I mean, if we look before we get into the match, let's look at her run to the final. That's the craziest part about this. 29 years old, so quite old, especially on the women's side of the game. 19th seed, and she beats Lee, Emilie Roos, and then it goes crazy. She beats Danimo Collins, the 10th seed, Elina Rybakina, the 6th seed, Elina Svitolina, the 28th seed, Iga Swiatek, the 2nd seed, and then Aryna Sabalenka, the 1st seed. All in 3 sets, except for Collins. She beat her in straight sets. 4 3-set matches in a row versus 3 of them versus the top. Really, I think Rybakina's been injured, so her ranking's lower than it should be. Really, probably like 3 top 5 players in a row. Or maybe the 3 best players in the world, to be honest, in Sabalenka, Swiatek, and Rybakina, rankings aside. So just a historic run for Madison Keys to go through the field, through the toughest part of the field, and to win. I couldn't be more happy for her. She seems like the greatest gal, super nice, and has obviously worked for this so hard. U.S. Open last year, I believe it was the semifinal versus Sabalenka. She won the first set, and then she got tight. Didn't happen today or last night. Let's look at it. She won the first set in pretty dominant fashion, playing huge tennis, amazing tennis. 2 aces, 86% of her first serves in. She hit 11 winners to Aryna's 4. Aryna was probably pretty erratic. She was pretty taken aback, I think, by the pace and the level that Keys was bringing. And then it was looking like it was going to be a 5-1 or 6-1 set, and then Sabalenka broke back, got one of the breaks back, and then ended up and Keys was able to serve it out the next time. So that's set 1. Set 2, Sabalenka comes back, wins 68% on her first serve, gets 83% of her first serves in, hits 13 winners, 12 unforced errors. She was playing big, but Madison was worse than 14 unforced errors to 8 winners. So as you can see here, the win predictor, it swung towards Sabalenka swung towards Sabalenka at halfway through the second set and all the way into the third set. And actually it stayed there all the way through the third set, which is crazy. But then we go to the third set stats, and Madison Keys, clutch on her serve, 85% win of first serve percentage. That's incredible. That's clutch in the third set. 10 winners to only 7 unforced errors. She played better. She played a bit cleaner, but she continued to play big. In the moments where it was close on her serve in the third set, she hit winners when she needed to. She didn't crack under the pressure. And that's going to be the story for her now, which is changing maybe a narrative in her mind. When you lose and you get tight, that can become part of your identity. We've seen that with lots of players on the men's side. Zverev, Tsitsipas, other players. Madison Keys has now reversed that. She's a champion. I'm a champion on the WTA Tour on the Grand Slam level, and she beats Aryna Sabalenka, who smashed her racket at the end of the match, which I just want to say I don't have a problem with at all. It actually, to me, shows that how much she cared and how much she didn't want to lose and how much maybe she expected to still win when the going got tough in the third set. So you don't often see that when someone's complaining still on match point. Like, she was complaining to her team after she lost the match point and then gives her a hug at the net, very nice, but then goes and smashes her racket. I kind of love it. People are going to say, oh, will you get mad at Djokovic when he smashes his racket? No, I don't. I love smashing the rackets. If I was a pro player, I'd do it. I've done it as a non-pro player. I just think you can't complain about being unpopular when you do it all the time, compared to someone who doesn't. Anyways, Sabalenka, hilarious post-match press conference, or winner or loser speech, runners-up speech to her box. She's so funny. She's such an asset to the women's game. She's the leader of the pack. This doesn't change that. She wasn't able to do the three-peat in Australia. Maybe she felt some pressure from that. But really, Madison Keys' game, that's what this story is all about. Trusting her process. It was amazing to see, having not watched a ton of her over the last couple of years, she literally hits a bigger ball than Sabalenka, and she's maybe the only person on the women's tour who does that. Maybe Rybakina does as well. But when Keys was timing that forehand, unbelievable. Was able to get it by Sabalenka with fairly decent ease. And then her backhand, when she would go down the line with it and time that right, it was a nutcracker, a can opener. So that was incredible. And you could see her get tight in the second set, play, less good, but the ability to lock back in, focus again, find that same kind of timing and rhythm and confidence from the first set that's how champions are made. You have to be able to do that. You have to be able to problem solve in the biggest moments, and she did. So people talked about her husband, Bjorn Fratangelo, ex-player himself. He's there on the court in the player pod, being able to talk with her, work through that. That's crazy. I was saying I'm married and I love my wife, but I could not handle coaching. I mean, coaching her in a match like that would be a nightmare. I feel like it would just be, each other too well almost. You are like, I guess you just have to really be able to set. We're not really husband and wife right here. We're coach and player, and we gotta not bring whatever our dynamics. Maybe they're amazing, and in the normal world, like when you're doing dishes together, into the court, because maybe that would be less good. I don't know, but they seem to have a great coaching player husband wife relationship in that aspect, and very cool to see that work out for them. They get married. They win a championship. I've said this before. A lot of players like that. Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, Murray, lifelong partners produce better results. So Madison Keys and Bjorn Fratangelo are another example of that. But yeah, it's so cool to see Madison Keys get over the hump. She's a major champion now. She'll never have that taken away from her. And she did it in amazing fashion, like coming through the best field possible. Doing it the Madison Keys way, playing her brand of tennis, taking it, ripping it out of the hands of Aryna Sabalenka, who really wanted that, as you can tell, and was playing very good. There was a part in that from the Sabalenka perspective. There was the second set, maybe a lot during the match, but she started to block on the forehand return. She would block it or slice it back just to get the ball in play. And that lack of pace coming back to Keys kind of threw off a little bit. She didn't have pace to play with, so she couldn't bang it as big on the next ball, and that seemed to be working. So Sabalenka was doing that pretty well for a while, and then, Madison Keys was able to problem solve, find ways to still be aggressive off her first serve. But I thought that was going to be, as the almost less big hitting player, Sabalenka was starting to slice, starting to block those returns, starting to be a little more creative, and that seemed to be working. But the best players in the world stick to their game plan, stick to their weapons, and that's what Madison Keys did, and it worked out, and she was able to problem solve. But at the end of the day, it does come down to being mentally tough more than just having the skills, and she was mentally tough in this match, and that's how she got over the line. She was mentally tough all tournament. 4 3-set matches in a row to get here. Absolutely incredible. So American tennis, you got another champion. On the women's side, that's amazing. Madison Keys, champion in Australia. What did I miss? Incredible match last night. That's an amazing final. The men could only hope to have a final like that. They hope that it goes 5 sets and has the level that they did there, and the drama and the intensity. So yeah, that's an amazing result. That's an amazing end to the women's tournament. And yeah, caps off to Madison Keys, who is the newest champion on the WTA Tour, and it's got to be loving that. That's amazing. Congrats to her. Congrats to her fans. Let me know your thoughts on that match and the result below, and we will see you next time here on The Slice.